recording. Hello, this is Ashy. I have Wah here again.
Hello.
Now, some of you may question why I choose to talk about Pathfinder 1st Edition, especially with the advent of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The short answer is, I like Pathfinder 1st Edition. It was my first tabletop RPG, and I haven't fallen out of love with it. The long answer is, Pathfinder 1st Edition's rule set, in my opinion, is simple but expansive, and has a good amount of crunch that I enjoy. Almost anything you can think of wanting to do in the system has rules to support it. I'll admit that this does have its downsides, such as combat maneuvers requiring feats. But the trade-off is that you don't need your game master to give you a last-minute call as to whether shoving or tripping an orc is possible, nor what ruling is required to pull off the maneuver. Furthermore, I feel that Pathfinder 1st Edition is a system that rewards you for learning it. The basics are simple. Your goal in combat: take the other guy's HP to 0 without your HP hitting 0. Simple.
I mean, that definitely does touch onto the many opinions you've just roiled up in my fucking guts. Like, one of the major things I hate about some of the more modern systems is the fact that you have to ask permission to do damn near anything. You know, like feats being an optional rule.
How about not having clear rules about whether you can bull rush or trip the orc in front of you?
Well, there's also that. I didn't actually know that about the... Well, we're speaking around the idea of 5th edition like it's he who must not be named, or the system that must not be named. I think we're talking about 5th edition right now. We're talking about 5th edition or BF2. Which one is it?
I plead the 5th. I do not need to incriminate myself.
So, anybody listening, you get to guess which one the DM means. So I'm not sure anymore. Completely ignoring the fact I've played 1 to 20 in Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the entire Curse of Strahd in 5th Edition, I'm not quite sure which one we're talking about. It's the problem with playing something like a Hexblade Warlock.
Oh, yes.
You just smite things. You just hit them.
You learn your
Do
optimal
anything
play
else?
pattern, and you press repeat.
There's a good thing about Pathfinder 1st Edition that unless you're playing a fighter, that's not necessarily the case. Or a Slayer, actually. You could just go full smash with a Slayer.
You go full smash with most martials.
Yeah, but what are you doing if you're just playing full smash monk? If you're playing a monk, you're doing something weird.
I mean, hopefully.
Alright?
Regardless, on that note, the game is full of smaller and more obscure rules that can benefit you as a player, such as knowing that 3 ranks in acrobatics will give you a bonus on fighting defensively or the total defense action. A very small thing, but if you happen to be playing a monk, who happens to be using a very particular fighting style that involves fighting defensively, that extra +1 AC might matter a little bit more than you think it is. Especially if you're stacking other sources of AC.
I just like how I was accidentally topical in my just angry rant. Now that's synergy.
Yeah. And we can also draw that into the crunch of the system. Now, Pathfinder 1st Edition has numbers. Of course it does. But the thing about Pathfinder 1st Edition numbers is that you can find sources of different bonuses that will stack on top of each other. Let's look at the Monk's example. If you have that very particular fighting style, you're getting a lot of dodge bonus to AC. That's pretty helpful and will stack with the base AC that a monk is getting just for being a monk. But you could also be stacking on an armor bonus from Braces of Armor. And you could find the source of a luck bonus to AC. Like if you're wearing a particular Jengasa with a particular trait, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. in addition to finding the deflection bonus and this, then you can stack your AC up to be pretty monumental. But you don't have to. It's kind of the beauty of it. The game rewards you for knowing more and more about the system and how you can reach monumental numbers. But even if you don't know how to reach those numbers, you're not necessarily going to be punished that much harder for not knowing. You'll have what the creators are expecting as the basic experience. How the game is, sort of in their eyes, meant to be played. And that's not a terrible
Yeah,
thing.
let's be fair though. How Paizo and any game dev generally expects you to play really tends not to pan out that way. Because as we have learned, or as I've learned at least over the past 20 years, is that when you have 5 people together all doing weird and different things, it turns out that the average D&D player is actually a complete and utter psychopath.
Oh, they certainly can be.
Actually,
Because
that brings me on to a second point. We should actually just do an entire conversation at some point about Fate's Favored.
Oh, Fate's Favored is definitely an absolutely fun trait that I was not going to name by name.
Why?
Oh yeah, because I was also not going to mention the entirety of the old Jingasa. It's a shame that they eroded it.
Well, okay, for a bit of context here. We have generally gone back through all of the, what do they call it, living errata? And mostly reversed the majority of it. Because we're of the opinion that the majority of it is fucking stupid.
A lot of the tweaks to items, a lot of them are, aside from feeling somewhat unnecessary, they don't change the price point of the item. So, you go from getting a lot of value for your buck to getting very little value.
No price
And that
adjustments for changing the bonus, changing the type. Nada.
That doesn't sit well with me as a GM or as a player. So I use my powerful administrative rights as the DM to go, yeah, we're just gonna use the old one.
It works. Everybody's having a hell of a lot more fun. And a lot more versatility. Let's talk about weapon cords, and how the person who nerfed it
We don't need to talk
decided
about
that a
weapon
weapon
cords.
cord...
We don't need to talk about
We're not allowed
that.
to talk... Okay,
Okay.
we're not talking about weapon cords.
We
But
talk
can we
about
just
that
talk
later.
about how it got nerfed because the guy couldn't flip his mouse around on the cord and catch it, so clearly an adventurer can't? Can we not mention that bit? No? Okay.
Well, it's too late now to mention.
Forget I said anything.
Darn, I can't cover this in a future video.
I'm sure we could do an entire video going through the errata and pointing out every single stupid decision that was made, like, what was it? Post 2018? There is a cut-off point where Pathfinder's devs got... Something happened where they just started going well off the rails. Not sure why. But I don't like it.
I mean, that would be a video on the history of Paizo and how things have changed, but I don't want to do that
but
one anytime
neither
soon.
of us know that, what the history is. Unless you do. I certainly fucking don't.
We don't need to talk about that here and now.
Okay. See, this is why you have a script and I don't. But I should. But I'm not going to.
But if you had a script, we wouldn't have as much chaos. So, back to the point of the game. Despite all I feel that I know about this game, I'm still surprised occasionally by learning of one more new system, or one more interaction that's new to me, or this one feat chain that I've never seen before. And speaking on the topic of just feat chains, the game is brimming with content. There's a multitude of archetypes to change up how your classes play, feats that you can play with, magic items that can be discovered. Not to mention that there's all of these modules and companion adventure paths that were released by Paizo. And at the rate that my group plays campaigns, it would likely exceed our natural lifespans to complete all of them. Invest in them immediately. Though...
Well, I know at least Nerd is going to go for the worm that walks ascension. Don't know about you. I'm partial to Death Knights.
Oh, Grave Knights are really cool.
Death Knight, Grave Knight... I played WoW at some point, shut up.
I mean, call me classic or old-fashioned. I'm still a fan of vampires. I think they're cool. This is where you call me basic. And then we move on with our lives.
You just cut me off. Yes, I was going to call you basic.
Predictable creature that you are.
Yeah. I don't deny it.
With that said, if you liked this video, please leave a like, and if you're interested in Pathfinder 1st Edition, or anything that we do, consider subscribing. Thank you.
Oh. One more thing. You still recording?
Oh. Yes.
One more thing. This is our introvert DM's first attempt at doing these videos. With any luck, once we get more of the players involved, it will be a far, far more organic experience where we're all just talking and bullshitting with each other. Hopefully no one gets into an argument. Can't promise anything. But we will see you there.
Thanks for calling me out, and please subscribe.